Someone asked me a few weeks ago in the comment section under one of my videos, how do I retain moisture, or how do I keep that moisture in my grow bags? I'm going to be addressing that in this video. I'm also going to be addressing how do I also retain moisture in the in-ground area here in humid central Florida. So this is my little grow bag area, and it's not so beautiful right now, but if you are a regular viewer or a subscriber of the channel, you guys may know what had happened in this area of my garden. Well, the entire garden, but this area was affected mostly. So we're going to talk about retaining moisture in these grow bags, and to have black grow bags here in central Florida or in Florida, anywhere where it's humid, it's going to be kind of a tricky one to retain moisture, because these black bags, they heat up pretty fast. I know that you guys hear that the black grow bags, they will dry out the medium that you have inside them way faster, and that is so true because the black attract a lot of heat. And in these grow bags, I have nothing really special in them. It's just regular garden soil that I get from my local landscaping company, and in a few of them I have just a regular, what you call that one now, timberline soil that you can get at your big box store, the cheapest soil that you can find at your big box store. So that's really what I have in my grow bag. I do enhance them or amend them with rabbit manure, which I put rabbit manure in my garden basically on a daily basis, because I clean my rabbit hutches on a daily basis. So every day rabbit manure will be going in the grow bags, but not all of them every day. Whichever one look like it need, I'll just put it in it and continue to use that as a way of fertilizing these grow bags, because rabbit manure is my fertilizer in this garden. But for you guys who are thinking of using these black grow bags, nothing is wrong with them. You can use them and you can have great success with them. If you're new to the channel, you can go back, look at videos when these bags having a lot of things in them, and you can see that they do perform without synthetic fertilizer. So number one, I would advise you guys, keep your grow bags close together. They don't have to be as tightly knitted like mine are, but keep them as close as possible together, and that will help to block out some of that sunlight and help them also to retain moisture, because when those plants start growing up in them, then the leaves will have you'll have a canopy where you'll get that cover for the grow bags, and then you'll have these grow bags so close together, closely knitted, where most of the time the sides won't be exposed to the sunlight directly, so they won't dry out that fast. So that is one way of maintaining moisture or retaining moisture in your grow bags. Keep them close together. You can have a pathway, but if you even want to double them and have something that you can stretch across and weed, you have that pathway that you can walk through and move through. Just keep those grow bags close together and you will be surprised. You'll maintain a lot of moisture in your bags. Another way to maintain moisture is to put down mulch. I've tried mulch before. However, mulch can be tricky, just like anything else in the garden. You don't want to put down your mulch too thick, especially in the grow bags, or else you'll start to get root rot in a lot of your plants, especially in the fall month when you don't have that humidity, the heat there to dry things out quickly. And if you're not on top of things, to be testing that soil regular to see when it dries out, maybe you'll just go ahead and overwater, and you'll just start see your plants dying back and you don't know why. It's not a lack of water, it's just overwatering at this point, keeping the soil too saturated around those roots. So that can cause a lot of damage. So when you're going in with mulch, if you're going in with straw or any form of shaving, just take it little by little and see how it works. So just don't go in with those thick 3 and 4 inches at first in your beds or even in your bag. Take it little by little and see how it works, and then you'll find exactly that sweet spot for you. If you're a gardener who have the time and you water even 3 times a week, because I think 3 times a week is good enough for most garden here in Florida, I would advise you to water maybe 5 times a week in the hotter months. When it comes to the fall month, I normally water like twice a week. But for water retention, for retaining moisture in your soil, be careful of the amount of mulch that you're going to be putting down at any one time. It's best to put down a little, and if it's drying out too fast, you go again and put some more on top of it, but not because one gardener says that they put down 6 or 8 inches of mulch means it's going to work for you. It all depends on how your garden is set up. If you have the bags close like I do, you're not going to need that much mulch on top of your soil. You're just going to need a little just to shield it. Another way to maintain moisture in your garden is to plant things vertically, especially your vining crop. Have them form a canopy and you'll have a shaded area underneath. So for example, this area under here, I could have grow bags and I could plant some things that can handle the shade under here. And talking about the shade with vining crop, just look at these beans that I have here. These are some yard long beans, and look at the length of these beans. I always see these on the internet and I thought they were like fake or you have to do something special to get beans like this, but no. With these beans, there are some yard long beans that I got from Baker's Creek, and trust me, I'm going to be getting some more. They don't carry a lot of seed. I don't know if I'm not leaving them long enough. These are like maybe about 8 days old on this vine. So these beans haven't been here for 2 weeks as yet. And just look at the size of them. The other day in a video I told you guys that I was getting like a bean per week. No, I'm getting maybe about 8 beans per week. And if I should leave these for 2 weeks, they'll be touching the ground. This one here, basically it's touching the ground. These are some quite long beans. So let's just move on to the next method of retaining moisture in the garden. Start planting a bit closer. Not too thick where you don't have airflow throughout the garden, but just closer than what is recommended most time, because those recommendations are really for industrial type gardens or farms, not garden. They really don't make much sense for us gardeners. So plant things a bit thicker, use up your space, utilize your space as best as possible, and you will notice how much more moisture you start retaining in your bags. Because even with this, I did a watering this morning, and this is going to take basically the entire day for this area right here to dry out. It is thick enough just to cover it a bit much longer than other spaces in the garden, like over here that has died back, and even in the grow bag area here that's died back and it's much more exposed now. So these bags are going to be all dried out by maybe about 12 o'clock today, whilst over on this side it may not dry out until maybe about 3 or 4 p.m. and that's when we get up into the mid-90s. And next way to retain moisture in the garden, start using manure in your garden. All manures retain moisture more than soil. So whether it be cow manure, goat manure, horse manure, rabbit manure like what I'm using here, every single manure that you're going to think of will retain moisture more than your soil. Native soil or mixed soil, the manure will retain way much moisture. And next way to maintain moisture in the garden is by using more compost. The more compost you have in the garden, the more it's going to maintain that moisture by locking that moisture in and keeping those roots cooler for a longer period of time. So compost is a next way to keep moisture in the garden. You can also use a shade cloth to retain moisture in your soil. Shade cloth, they do very well in just dampening that sun, taking off a bit of that heat from the garden. Depending on where you are or how your garden is situated, you have to really think about that on the percentage, what percent shade cloth you're going to be using. I think this shade cloth that I have here, it's a 50% or a 45%, I'm not sure, but it's thereabout. And this would be perfect for a Florida gardener to plant things under if they wish. And we're talking about shade cloth. The next thing with water retention or moisture retention in the garden, we have to know how much water we're putting down in the garden at any given time. And it's not just us that is putting down water in our gardens, unless it's an indoor garden or you have a greenhouse that totally blocks out rain. But for open space gardeners, get yourself a rain gauge so you know exactly how much rainfall you're getting, so that you can calculate that with the amount of water that you'll be putting down on days when you're not getting rain. And next way to retain moisture in the garden or your bags in specific is by layering. This one is by using straw or maybe hay with soil. So for example, at the base of the bags, you will go in with a bit of straw or hay. Then you will put maybe about 4 inches of soil, then some straw or hay, maybe about 2 inches straw or hay, because that will fall, and you continue layering it all the way to the top. The thing about using the layering technique is that it will deteriorate and you'll have less soil or you'll have less medium in that container in a shorter period, but you can always go back and just repeat. But that's a next way of maintaining, or which will help you to maintain moisture within your grow bags. Also pack it, get it very compacted, and then you can go ahead and start planting. Everything will break down over time, and those containers will also need to be topped up faster than if you just had soil in them just like that. But it does help with moisture retention for your bags. So think about the layering technique also. It does work. On the topic of water retention also, you have to know as a gardener when and how to water your garden. And I'm not talking about overhead watering versus maybe drip irrigation system or anything like that. All I'm simply saying is know how to read your plants. So I'll come out in the mornings and I'll water some of the time, but my favorite time to water in the warmest time is gonna be evening times. That's when I water and I don't get disease in my garden. So I'll come out in the evening, maybe about 4 5 p.m. I don't wait until like 8 or 9, just when the sun is still up, hasn't set as yet, so that my leaves will dry off if they get wet. And I'll just water in the evening times. I'll do a deep enough watering and then I'll just avoid the next morning. If it's super humid, I'll water twice a day, but it won't be a deep watering. It's just enough, maybe about an inch in the soil, just enough to keep those plants from tapping out. So I hope you guys got something from this one. I'm gonna try to find the name of these beans also to share with you guys. I would really want you guys to try these for the fall months. They are very good. So that's gonna be from Country Tomorrow. God bless you all. See you in the next one. Happy gardening and cheers.